Ginoo, maayong adlaw. Daghang salamat sa imong gihatag kanamo nga kinabuhi, gugma ug gasa sa pamilya. Nag-ampo kami kanimo nga bisan aning mga pagsulay kay imo mi nga hatagan og kasing-kasing nga mahilom aron kami mutuo magpaabot og mulaom sa gugma mo nga hilabihan kalaw. I-bless katong mga nagtan-aw niining virtual program karon. Maghatag unta kami kalipay o kinabuhi sa uban, pinaagi sa pagpakitas gugma o sa pagsunod sa imong mga sugo og unta taliwala sa mga krisis o kasakitan kami ubarong nga malig-on uban kanimo kay ikaw lamang ang maghatag og bag-ong kahulugan sa tanan. Amen.
Paluwinta, suka o gadgets nga walang gamita. Tunganon ta, maglansya sa tanan mga sinina. Dagino ta, ang refayaw pirmi abrisirado.
Magdagino ta, pahinumdum kanimo.
Ikan sa sipalko.
Paluwinta, suka o gadgets nga walang gamita. Tunganon ta, maglansya sa tanan mga sinina. Dagino ta, atong power supply kulang kaayo.
Magkahiusa, pahinumdum kanimo.
Ikan sa sipalko.
Sa panahon nga gamay ra ang supply sa kuryente ug mahal ang pagpalit niini. Magkahiusa. Dagino ta. Click on sipago.com for more. Pahinumdum kanimo.
Ikan sa sipalko.
Providing high-quality products at an affordable price. Atomi's competitive edge lies in the nature of distribution itself. Atomy strives for providing absolute quality products at an absolute price. These are the values that Atomy has practiced from its beginning. In all of Atomy's products, including health foods, beauty cares, living, food and beverage, fashion, and household appliances, filled with the philosophy of absolute quality and absolute price.
Mayong adlaw sa tanan. I am Jimmy Makababat, a center head sa atong Atomy Education Center diri sa Cagayan de Oro. Ako kamong gidasig nga mogamit sa atong Atomy products. So ang atong Atomy products mao ni siya atong usually ginagamit kada adlaw sa atong panimalan. So why not ang atong mga brand sa atong ginagamit kada adlaw i-change nato og Atomy product? Because later on, the more nga magpalit kita og Atomy nga product, so the more nga naatay mga points nga makakuha, ug later on mahimo pud nato ni siyang makakuha ta og mga ginagmay nga mga commission or income ani nga mga produkto.
I am Miss Virginia Picardo, or you can call me Miss Virg. I am your English teacher for this video. At the end of this video, you will be able to identify voice of verbs, transform active voice to passive voice, and use passive and active voice meaningfully in varied contexts. But before we begin, let us first sing a song. Are you familiar with this song? Are you sleeping, Brother John? Let us use that tune in singing this song. The song goes like this. Active, passive, voice of verbs, Active does the action, passive receives the action, passive receives the action. Now, it's your turn. Are you ready to sing with me? Alright, let's start. Active, passive, voice of verbs, Active does the action, passive receives the action, passive receives the action. In this video, we will be talking about the voice of verbs. There are two types of voice of verbs. We have active and passive voice. Let us define first what is active voice. Active voice, the subject is the doer of the action. The subject performs the action denoted by the verb, and the subject does or acts upon the verb. Let's have some examples of active voice. Example number 1, Lizelle played the piano. Lizelle is the subject doer of the action played, and the object is the piano. Example number 2, Bobby creates a YouTube channel. Bobby is the subject doer of the action creates, and the object YouTube channel. Example number 3, Francis eats an apple. Francis is the subject doer, acts upon the verb eats, and object an apple. And example number 4, all teachers will read the memo. All teachers is the subject doer, will read is the verb, and the memo is the object. Let's proceed to passive voice. Passive voice, the subject is acted upon by another agent or unknown something. And the sentences necessarily add words and change the normal doer action to receiver of action. Let's have some examples of passive voice. Example number 1, the piano was played by Lizelle. The piano is the object, the main verb played, and the subject receiver now is Lizelle. And the words added, we have was, the auxiliary verb, and by preposition. Example number 2, a YouTube channel is created by Bobby. A YouTube channel is the object, created is the main verb, and Bobby is the subject receiver. Words added, we have is, auxiliary verb, and by the preposition. Example number 3, an apple is eaten by Francis. The object, an apple, eaten is the main verb, the subject receiver is Francis, and the words added is and the preposition by. Example number 4, the memo will be read by all the teachers. The memo is the object, read is the main verb, all the teachers is the subject receiver, and the words added will be and the preposition by. Got it? Now, let's identify if the voice of verbs is in active or passive form. I will give you 2 minutes to answer and finish the activity. Here. Here are the sentences. Are you done? Let's check your answers. Number 1, the dog is fed by John. What is your answer? Passive. Number 2, the students answered the modules. What is your answer? Active. Number 3, the DOH representatives will meet the displaced OFWs at the airport. What is your answer? Active. Number 4, the police lock up the violators. What is your answer? Active. Did you get it right? A round of applause. But how do we transform active to passive voice? Do you have an idea? Here's how. In changing active to passive voice, identify first the subject, verb, and object, or the SVO. Next, move the object to the subject slot. Place the subject into a phrase beginning with the preposition by. Change the main verb to past participle form and add auxiliary verb be. For example, let's use the sentence, Lizelle played the piano. This is an example of active voice. Lizelle is the subject doer, acts upon the verb played, and the piano is the object. Now, let's transform the sentence into passive voice. Identify the subject, verb, object. Lizelle is the subject, played is the verb, and the piano is the object. Move the object to the subject slot. Place the subject into a phrase beginning with the preposition by, and change the main verb to past participle form and add auxiliary verb be. Since the verb played is in past tense, the auxiliary verb should also be in past form. Take note, generally, it is better to write in active voice. It is clearer and more direct. For passive voice, it tends to be more wordy and vague, but can still be useful in some situations, such as formal or scientific writing. Now, let's see how well you've learned from today's lesson. Get your notebook or any sheet of paper and let's try to change the following sentences from active to passive voice. That's all for today's video. Thank you for watching, keep safe, and have a great day.
Good day, e-learners. I'm Lizelle G. Rementiza, and I will be your English teacher for today. At the end of this video, you will be able to define, differentiate, and write direct and indirect speech. Are you ready? Let's begin. What is a direct speech? By definition, it repeats or quotes the exact word spoken. In writing, we place the word spoken between quotation marks. And no change in these words. Let's have some examples. 1. She says, "What time will you be home?" 2. She says, "What time will you be home?" And I said, "I don't know." 3. "There's a fly in my soup," screamed Simon. Now let's define indirect speech. It is also known as a reported speech. It is usually used to talk about the past, so we normally change the tense of the word spoken. Use reporting verbs like say, tell, ask, and we may use the word that to introduce reported words. Inverted commas are not used. Let's have some examples. 1. She said that she had seen him. 2. She told him that she was happy. Or you can omit the word that. She told him she was happy. Here are the things that you should remember. You say when there is no indirect object. He said that he was tired. Always use tell when you say who was being spoken to. Example with an indirect object. He told him that he was tired. Use these verbs to describe the action of communicating. He talked to us. She was speaking on the telephone. Use these verbs with about to refer to what was said. He talked to us about his parents. Now let's assess what you have learned. Prepare your notebooks and your pens. Pause the video to copy the following statements and answer them correctly. After that, play the video to see the correct answers. Did you get the perfect score? Good job! For more activities, you may look at your module on the pages right here. That's it for today's video. Keep safe and have a great day.
Hi, good day. This is Teacher Lina, and I am your math teacher for today. We will have a new topic, which is very interesting, so please prepare your modules, your pen, your extra paper for your solutions, and most especially, yourself. But before we proceed, please let me know if you're still with me. Comment your name, your section, and your grade level. Let's go! So our topic for today is about factoring general trinomials. A trinomial which is not a perfect squared may be a quadratic trinomial in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c, where a, b, and c are constants and a is not equal to 0. Okay, so it's not a perfect square trinomial. It is in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. There are two types of quadratic trinomial in the form ax squared plus bx plus c. 1. Ax squared plus bx plus c, where a is equal to 1. And then, for number 2, ax squared plus bx plus c, where a is not equal to 1. Okay, so these are the two types of quadratic trinomial. Okay. Next we have, before we proceed to our examples, let us first recall the rules of integers for you to easily find the factors of our trinomials. Okay, so here is the rules for integers. When we are going to use in addition, positive plus positive equals positive. Negative and negative, they are negative. So you just combine them and copy their common sign. But if they have different signs, what we're going to do is subtract, then copy the sign of the bigger number. Example, we have positive 5 plus negative 2. What could be the answer? Since 5 is the bigger number, so we will copy the sign of 5 and then subtract 2 from 5, so you have 3. Positive 3. But what if the negative has a bigger value? We have negative 6 plus 3. Okay, so since 6 is the bigger absolute value, so we have 3 and then copy the sign of negative 6 of 6, so we have negative. Okay, so that's it. That's for the rule of addition. How about subtraction? Okay, we are going to change the sign of the subtrahend, then proceed to addition rules. Okay, so it goes like this. If they have different signs, 5 minus negative 4, so we are going to change the sign of negative 4. It will become positive. So may siyang positive 4. Okay, so example we have, if this is 5 minus negative 4, that will become 5 plus 4 equals 9. Okay, so how about we have negative 1 minus negative 3. Okay, so we are going to change the sign of negative 3. It will become negative 1 plus 3. And then go back to addition rule. Copy the sign of the bigger number. It will become 2, positive 2. Now let's have the multiplication and division. If we have, they have the same signs, they will be positive. Positive times positive is positive. Negative times negative is positive. Okay, so if they have both equal signs or the same signs. Now, if they don't have the same sign, for example, like this, positive and negative, or negative and positive, they will always result to negative answer. So, example, we have negative 3 times positive 2, it will become negative 6. Whereas here, we have negative 1 times negative 1, then it will become 1. Okay? Now, let's go to factoring trinomials where a is equal to 1. So, this is the first type of our quadratic trinomial. A here is equal to 1. Okay, so factor d squared plus 5d plus 6. Okay, so the solution is list all the possible factors of 6. So this one we will write, or we will all list the possible factors of this, the last term. So we have factors of 6 can be 6 times 1, 3 times 2, negative 6 times negative 1, and negative 3 times negative 2. So they are all the factors of positive 6. Okay, there is no negative there. They are all positive. Next, step B, from your list of possible factors, find a pair whose sum is 5, which is the middle term. Okay, now let's go back. We have the first factor is, the first pair of factor is 6 and 1. So if we are going to add 6 and 1, they are equal to 7. Okay, so what we're going to find is equal to 5. Next, we have 3 plus 2, that is 5. Negative 6 plus negative 1, we have negative 7. Negative 3 plus negative 2, we have negative 5. Therefore, the one we are looking for is 3 and 2. So these are the pair of factors that we are looking for, which is equal to the middle term, or 5. So we have 3 and 2 is the pair that we wanted to find, whose sum is 5. Therefore, the factors of d square plus 5d plus 6 is d plus 3 times d plus 2. Okay, so that is how we are going to factor the general trinomial with where a is equal to 1. Okay, number 2. K squared plus 3k minus 28. So what we're going to do is, first, list all the possible factors of negative 28. Now we're looking for a negative number. Okay, so note that the sign of the number is negative, so we are going to use a positive and negative pair of numbers. We cannot use all positive or all negative signs. So we have to use negative and positive. So we have positive 7 times negative 4, negative 7 times positive 4, 14 times negative 2, negative 14 times 2, 28 times negative 1, and the negative 28 times 1. So notice that the first or the other sign is positive and the other is negative. So there is no pair here who has the same signs. Okay, next, we are going to find the pair whose sum is 3. Okay, so let's look for 3 because 3 is the middle term of the trinomial. Okay, note, check the rules of integers table. Okay, so we have here the first pair is 7 plus negative 4. We have 3. And then negative 7 plus 4, that is negative 3. 14 plus negative 2 is 12. Negative 14 plus 2 is negative 2. And then 28 plus negative 1 is 27. And negative 28 plus 1 equals negative 27. Okay, so we have here the pair whose sum is 3. So this is what we are looking for. Positive 7 and negative 4 is the pair that we wanted to find, whose sum is positive 3. Therefore, the factors of k squared plus 3k minus 28 is the quantity of k plus 7 times the quantity of k minus 4. So these are the factors of the expression. Okay? Okay, so now it's your turn. Factor x squared plus 10x plus 24. Okay, are you all ready to show your answers? Okay, so the answer is x plus 6 and x plus 4 because we have there 4 plus 6 is 10. Okay, so that's it. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being with me, and I hope to see you in my next class. Bye! Hi, good day, this is Teacher Lina, and now we're at factoring sum and difference of two cubes. Please prepare your pens, your modules, and your extra papers for your solutions, and most especially yourselves. Okay, now let's proceed to our lesson proper. Okay, so we have here a review about the cubes of the first 5 numbers. So given that we have these numbers, the first 5, let us see their cube. Okay, so we have 1 raised to the power of 3, 2 raised to the power of 3, 3 raised to the power of 3, or 4 raised to the power of 3, or 4 cube, 5 raised to the power of 3, or 5 cube. So if we have 1 cube, then the answer is 1. The factors are 1 times 1 times 1. Next, we have the 2 cube. The answer would be 8 because we have 2 times 2 times 2. That is equals to 8. And then 3 cube, we have 3 times 3 times 3. We have 27. And 4 times 4 times 4, we have 64. And 5 times 5 times 5 is equals to, yes, it is 125. Okay, so you just have to remember for the first 5 numbers, their cubes are 1, 8, 27, 64, and 125. Okay, now we have the cube roots and the perfect cube numbers. So we have 1, 8, 27, 64, 125, 216, 343, 512, 729, and 1000. Now let us see what are the cube roots of this perfect cube numbers. Okay, so we have, it is written like this. The cube root of x, or any number. So x could be this. Okay, so we have the cube root of 1 is 1. The cube root of 8 is 2. The cube root of 27 is 3. And the cube root of 64 is 4. For 125, we have 5. 216, we have 6. 343, we have the cube root of 7. And 512, we have the cube root of 8. And 729, we have the cube root of 9. And in 1000, the cube root is 10. So these are the first 10 numbers. And these are the perfect cube numbers of these. Okay, let's proceed. So here is the special product, the difference of two cubes. Okay. So first one, we have here a minus b. The quantity of a minus b times the quantity of a squared plus ab plus b squared is equals to a cube minus b cube. Okay, so we have this one. We multiply this factor or these terms to the second factor. So we have a. Let us multiply first a to this. So we have a times a squared plus ab plus b squared. So we get this one first. We have a times a squared, we have a cube. And then a times ab, we have a squared b. And then a times b squared is we have ab squared. And next we have this negative b. Let us use negative b and then multiply it to this group. So we have negative b times a squared. We have negative a squared b. And then negative b times positive ab. So we have negative ab squared. And the last, we have negative b times positive b squared. So we have negative b cubed. Next, we are going to eliminate those terms that have the same signs and values. So we have a squared b and negative a squared b, and positive ab squared and negative ab squared. So the remaining is a cubed, b cubed. So this is what you called the difference of two cubed. Okay, next we have factoring the difference of two cubes. Okay, so this sounds so interesting. So please let's focus. We have this one. When we are going to factor a cubed minus b cubed, it goes like this. You have to find the first factor, which is a minus b, and then the second factor, we have a squared plus ab plus b squared. Okay, so this is the factored form. So you just have to take note of their signs and their placement. So we have example. Factor a cubed minus 64. Okay, so a cube is a perfect cube, and 64 is a perfect cube number also. So we have to express the given as cube of each term. So we are going to write their cube. Okay, so that is their cube form. You have the quantity of a raised to the power of 3 minus the quantity of 4 raised to the power of 3. So we are going to get the cube root of each term. So we have the cube root of this. So you cancel that one and then the cube root. So you cancel. So the remaining would be a and 4. Next we are going to use the sign. Okay, so the first factor is the difference of the cube roots of the two terms. So we have a minus 4. It would be the difference of the cube roots. Okay, so since we have our first factor already, we can use this in finding the second factor. Okay, so we have a minus 4, and then in finding the second factor, we are going to use this. So the first is square the first term. So the first term here is a, so we are going to square that one. So a times a is a squared. Next, multiply the first term with the last term. So you have this first and last. So we have a times 4. And you have to use the opposite sign of the last term. So as you can see, this is negative. Let us use positive 4. So we have 4a. Next, we have square the last term. So we have negative 4 times negative 4, we have positive 16. Therefore, the second factor is a squared plus 4a plus 16. Okay, so the factor of a cubed minus 64 is the quantity of a minus 4 times the quantity of a squared plus 4a plus 16. Okay, now what do you think? Is it simple or not? Of course it is simple. You just have to take note of their placement. You have to take note of their steps in solving the factors. Next example, we have factor 27x cubed minus 125y raised to the power of 6. Okay, so the first is we are going to write them in their cube form. So we have the cube root of 27 is 3. The cube root of x cubed is x. So we have this, the quantity of 3x raised to the power of 3 minus the quantity of 5y squared raised to the power of 3. Okay, so have you noticed y raised to the power of 6 became y raised to the power of 2? It is because if you're going to divide 6 by 3, it will be 2. So you have 5y squared raised to the power of 3. Next, we have the first factor already, the difference of 2 cubes. Okay, next we have the quantity of 3x squared plus 3x times the quantity of 5y squared plus the quantity of negative 5y squared raised to the power of 2. That is 9x squared plus 15xy squared plus 25y raised to the power of 4. Therefore, the factors of 27x cubed minus 125y raised to the power of 6, we have 3x minus 5y squared times the quantity of 9x squared plus 15xy squared plus 25y raised to the power of 4. Okay, teacher, how did we arrive with this answer? First, we used the first term. So we squared the first term. And then, we multiply for the second step. We multiply the first and the second term. So we have 3x times 5y squared. And then next we used the opposite sign. So this is negative. So we used here positive. And then, we have squared the last term. So we have negative 5y squared raised to the power of 2. Therefore, we simplify this and it became like this. So we combined the first factor and the second factor. Therefore, that is the final answer. Okay. Next, we have the special product, the sum of two cubes. Okay, so earlier we have difference of two cubes. Now we have the sum of two cubes. Okay, so we have here the quantity of a plus b times the quantity of a squared minus ab plus b squared is equals to a cubed plus b cubed. Okay, so we have, this is the first term. We multiply them to the second term. The second factor. So we have a times a squared minus ab plus b squared. And then the last term for the first factor, we multiplied it to the second factor. So b times here in this group. So we arrive with a cubed minus a squared b plus ab squared plus a squared b minus ab squared plus 3b. So take note of the highlighted variables here. They are eliminated. So the remaining answer is a cubed plus b cubed. Okay, so we have here an example number 1. 8c cubed plus d cubed. Okay, so the first step is just like finding the difference of two cubes. We have write them in their cube form. So the cube root of 8 is 2 and the cube root of c cube is c. So we have the quantity of 2c raised to the power of 3 plus the quantity of d raised to the power of 3. So we are going to combine them. So we have the first factor already. So that is 2c plus d. Now, let us use that one to find the second factor. Okay? So just like finding the difference of two cubes, we are going to square the first term. So the first term is 2c. So you have 4c squared. And then multiply the first term and the negative of the last term. So since this is positive, we are going to use the opposite sign or the negative. So we have 2c times negative d. So we have negative 2cd. And then we are going to square the last term, that is d squared. So the second factor is 4c squared minus 2cd plus d squared. And if we are going to combine the factors, then it is the quantity of 2cd plus times 4c squared minus 2cd plus d squared. Okay, now factoring the sum of two cubes. Okay, so we have a cubed plus b cubed. This will be the factor. Okay, so we have the quantity of a plus b times the quantity of a squared minus ab plus b squared. Okay, so you have to take note that this is negative. Okay, so we are going to factor a cubed plus 1000. Okay, so the answer would be, first let us solve this. So it will be like a raised to the power of 3 and then plus 10 raised to the power of 3. So we have a plus 10. Okay, so that is our first factor. Next we are going to square the first term. So we have a squared. And then next we are going to multiply the first and second term. So let us use the negative of this second term. So we have a times negative 10. Therefore, we have negative 10a. And then the last is we are going to square the last term. So we have 10 times 10. So we have 100. Okay, so therefore our factor is a plus b times the quantity of a squared minus 10a plus 100. So this is our first. And then we have negative 10a. And then 100. Okay, so our answer is correct. Okay, so we have number 2. You have 343a raised to the power of 9 plus 27b cubed. Okay, so let us factor this too. So we have 7a cubed raised to the power of 3 plus 3b raised to the power of 3. Next, we are going to get our cube root. So we have 7a cubed plus 3b. Okay, so that is our first factor. And then next we have the second factor. We are going to first square the first term. So we have 7a cubed times 7a cubed. So that would be 49. 49a raised to the power of 9. Okay, that is 49a raised to the power of 6. And the next we are going to multiply them, the first and second term. So you have 7a cubed times 3b. So you have 21a cubed b. Okay, so that's it. And the last we have 3b times 3b. So we have 9b squared. Let us see if our answer is correct. So we have 49a raised to the power of 6 minus, okay, so we are going to use this one, negative 21a cubed b plus 9b squared. Okay, so this is the factored form. Okay, now we have m cubed raised to the m cubed minus 1. So we have m, and then we have 1 cube, so we have m minus 1. And then in finding the second factor, so we have m squared, and then m times positive 1, that would be m, and then the squared of negative 1, so we have plus 1. Therefore, our answer is correct. Okay, so number 4, we have 343g cubed minus 125. So you have 7g raised to the power of 3 minus 5 cubed. So you have 7g minus 5. That is your first factor. And then for the second factor, you're going to square the first term. So you have 7g squared. So you have 49g raised to the power of 4. Next, you have 7g times the opposite sign of the second term. So you have 5. You have 35g. And then you have negative 5 squared. So you have 25. Okay, let us see if our answer is correct. Okay, so that is 7g minus 5 And then we have 49g. Oh, sorry, my bad. This is squared, g squared. Okay, so we have g squared. And then 35g plus 25. Okay, so we have here the summary. So for factoring techniques, it should be number 1, greatest common monomial factors. You're going to get the common monomial factor. And then 2, the difference of two squares would be like this: a plus b and a minus b. For the difference of two cubes, you have a minus b times the quantity of a squared plus ab plus b squared. And then for the sum of two cubes, that is a cubed plus, a plus b times the quantity of a squared minus ab plus b squared. Okay, thank you so much for today. Thank you for being with me and for listening to our class. See you in my next class. Bye-bye.
Good day, and welcome Grade 9 learners to Physical Education Unit 1, Sports Officiating. This lesson will be divided into 4 parts, and each part do have their own objective. For this lesson, you are expected to demonstrate understanding of lifestyle and weight management to promote community fitness, maintain an active lifestyle to influence the physical activity participation of the community, to practice healthy eating habits that support an active lifestyle. As we go through this video class, most important learning will be to undertake physical fitness assessment. It has been said that the advancement brought about by science and technology has made life easier. Unfortunately, the luxury of just pushing a button or clicking a mouse is leading us to a sedentary lifestyle. In order to meet the demands of daily routines and activities, it requires a fitter and healthier mind and body, which can be achieved through active participation in physical activities like sports officiating. Thus, this video class will help to answer the pressing concern as it introduces you to the world of sports officiating. Before you will be allowed to participate in the activities prepared for this lesson, you will be asked to answer the PARQ or the Physical Activity Readiness Questionnaire, which will help you assess your readiness for participating in physical activities. Questions are attached in the module, and you have only to answer with a yes or no. Your answers will reveal your readiness for the said activity. If you answered yes to any of these questions, you need to talk with your doctor before you start engaging in physical activity. You may tell your doctor about the PARQ and which questions you answered yes. So that simply means you are not allowed to participate in the activity prepared for this lesson. You may tell your physical education teacher that you have a medical condition that will hinder or that will not allow you to perform the activities, and you may provide a medical certificate so that you will be given another lesson to cope with the activity. But if you answered no to all part of questions, you can start participating in physical activity. There are many ways to find your pulse rate: in your wrist, inside of your elbow, side of your neck, top of the foot. And to get the most accurate reading, put your finger over your pulse and count the number of beats in 60 seconds. You can use your index finger and the pointer to get your pulse rate and not your thumb, because thumb has its own beats. How to find your target heart rate? We have here the formula. But before that, you need to know first your personal maximum heart rate, or the PMHR. So this is the average maximum number of times your heart should beat per minute during exercise. It is the upper limit of what your cardiovascular system can handle during physical activity. With a given formula, to get your PMHR, we have 220 is a constant number minus your age. To know if the exercise you're performing or the activity that you're performing is in moderate intensity, it should range from 40 to 55% only. So how to know that the exercise you're performing is at 40% intensity? So the formula is PMHR multiplied by 0.4, and that would be your beats per minute at 40%. At 55%, multiply your PMHR by 0.55, and that would be your heart rate at 55% intensity. How to know if the activity you're performing is a vigorous one? It should range from 60 to 85% of your heart rate. At 60% intensity, you multiply your PMHR by 0.6, and at 85%, you multiply by your PMHR by 0.85. So the result now will identify the heart rate that you are supposed to reach to say whether the activity that you're performing is moderate or vigorous. Why is knowing your target heart rate important? Because for us to know the most benefit or the benefit of your exercise routine, your heart rate must increase a certain amount. Your target heart rate ranges provide a good guideline to gauge your exercise goals. Before performing any activity, it is suggested that you perform first a warm-up. So what is a warm-up? It is a session which takes place prior to doing physical activity, and usually a warm-up will consist of light cardiovascular exercises combined with what happens in a warm-up. Most warm-up sessions will include a combination of cardiovascular exercises, stretching, and strength drills. The cardiovascular exercises are designed to increase circulation, increase body temperature, and bring the heart rate up, while stretching warms the muscles and prepare them for the movements they will be required to carry out during the activity. Explosive strength exercises, which may include sprint drills or jumps, gently increase the level of intensity and prepare the body for sudden movements in the game, which will follow. These exercises should only be done once the muscles are warm, and this will prevent. What are the effects of warm-up? Warm-up should gently prepare the body for exercises by gradually increasing the heart rate and circulation. This will loosen the joints and increase blood flow to the muscles. Stretching the muscles prepares them for physical activity and prevents injuries. The warm-up is also the opportunity for an individual to prepare themselves mentally for the game ahead and for a team to work together prior to the start of the game. Warm-ups can also be used to practice skills and team drills. How long should a warm-up last? Most warm-up sessions last between 20 minutes and half an hour. This gives the body plenty of time to gradually get ready for physical activity and gives the player time to prepare themselves mentally. Does warm-up prevent injury? Yes. The most important reason for doing a warm-up is to prevent injury during exercise. Keeping the muscles warm will prevent acute injuries, such as hamstring strains, and will stave off overuse injuries by allowing the body to prepare steadily and There are two types of exercises which can be performed as warm-up. First is dynamic stretching. This is strategy used to improve mobility while moving through a range of motion, often in a manner that looks like the activity or sport that is going to be performed. Another type of exercise is static stretching. It is holding a stretch without movement, usually only at the end range of a muscle. Let's now identify the difference between dynamic stretching and static stretching. Dynamic stretching is performed before exercises, while static stretching is performed after exercise. Dynamic stretching mimics sports-related movements, while static stretching improves flexibility. Dynamic stretching increases joint range of motion, while static stretching improves breathing. Dynamic stretching gets you mentally prepared, while static stretching corrects muscle imbalances. And lastly, dynamic stretching is used for warm-up, while static stretching is used for cool-down. Let's now proceed to physical fitness test, which is the main competency that you are required to perform in this lesson. You are already aware that the physical fitness test is performed before the start of the class, and this is to identify the level of your fitness in a specific component. It has two components, health-related and skill-related, and each component comprises several tests and specific testing protocols. There are 1,001 tests used worldwide, but the choice of test considered time efficiency in the administration, availability of equipment, simplicity of the procedures, and practicality of the test. We provided forms for you to fill out the result of the activity or the test that you are going to perform. This is just a review of the components that you need to perform. First one is the body composition. Body composition is the body's relative amount of fat to fat-free mass. To know the body composition, we need to get your body mass index. What are the data that we need in getting your body mass index? First is your weight. So weight is the heaviness or lightness of a person. Another one is your height. It is the distance between the floor to the top of the head in standing position. Under body composition is your waist circumference. It is a good predictor of visceral fat, which contributes more risk of cardiovascular disease and diabetes than fat located in other areas of Another component of fitness is the strength. So strength refers to the muscle's ability to generate force against physical object. In the fitness world, this typically refers to how much weight you can lift or different strength training exercises. So these are the activities to measure strength. First, the 90-degree push-up. That is to measure your strength of upper extremities. So in this activity, you are going to record the number of push-ups made. Another is curl-ups. This is to measure strength of abdominal muscles. You also need to record the number of curl-ups made. Another component of fitness is flexibility. So flexibility refers to the ability of the joints to move through a full range of motion. We have the following tests to measure flexibility. First, the sit and reach. It is a test of flexibility for the lower extremities, particularly the hamstring. Another one is the zipper test. It is a test of upper arm and shoulder girdle flexibility intended to parallel the strength or endurance assessment of the region. Next one is cardiovascular endurance. It is the ability of the heart, lungs, and blood vessels to deliver oxygen to working muscles and tissues, as well as the ability of those muscles and tissues to utilize that oxygen. Endurance may also refer to the ability of the muscle to do repeated work without fatigue. In a 3-minute step test, we're going to measure the cardiovascular endurance. But before performing the cardiovascular endurance, you need to get first your resting heart rate, and that is, you count your heart rate for 60 seconds. Then, afterwards, you may perform your 3-minute step test. And after the 3-minute step test, you get your working heart rate at 10 seconds, multiply by 6, and that would be your working heart rate for 1 minute. And after performing the 3-minute step test, you need to rest for 3 minutes. After 3 minutes, you may get your recovery heart rate and count your pulse beat for 1 minute, and that would be your recovery heart rate. Forms, activity, and performance tasks are attached in the module. If you have any question, you may ask your subject teacher in PE, and we would be willing to entertain your questions. Thank you, and may God bless us all.
Magandang araw, mga ginigiliw kong mag-aaral mula sa ikasyang na baitang ng Misamis Oriental General Comprehensive High School. Kumusta na kayong lahat? Sa pagkakataon na ito ay pag-aaralan natin ng isang tulang isinulat ni Jose Corazon de Jesus. Ang tulang ito ay pinapagatan niyang Ang Pagbabalik. Ito ay isang tulang liriko sapagkat matindi ang damdaming pinapahayag ng pangunahing persona ng tula. Kabilang rin ito sa tulang kung tawagin ay elehiya dahil sa malungkot na damdaming ipinapakita ng pangunahing tauhan dahil sa pagpanaw ng kanyang kabiyak sa buhay. Tutunghayan natin yan, pero bago ang lahat, talakayin muna natin ang mga sangkap sa tulang Ang Pagbabalik. Ang Pagbabalik ni Jose Corazon de Jesus. Isang tulang elehiya. Sangkap ng tula. Sukat. May sukat na lalabindalawahin. Tugma. Tugmang ganap ang ginamit sapagkat magkakapareho ang tunog at titik ng huling salita sa bawat taludtod. Paksa. Pumapaksa sa kalungkutang nadarama ng pangunahing tauhan dahil sa pagkakalayo nila ng kanyang kabiyak upang maghanap buhay at sa kanyang pagbabalik, ito'y wala ng buhay. Talinhaga. Huwagong nasa kubot mga ibong itim ang nagsisasalubong sa aking pagdating. Ikatlong saknong, ikalima at ikaanim na taludtod. Ibig sabihin nito, ito ay isang pagpapalitawag o metonymy sapagkat ang kwago at ang mga ibong itim ay tumutukoy sa isang masamang pangitain na kakaharapin ng pangunahing tauhan. Tono. Ang tono ng tula ay malungkot. Persona. Ang persona ng tula ay isang tao na nawala ng mahal sa buhay. Simbolismo. Kwago at mga ibong itim. Masamang pangitain. Kandila, kamatayan o may sumakapilang buhay. Pagdulog. Pagdulog realismo ang ginamit sa tula. Ang panitikang ito ay naglalayong ipakita ang mga karanasan at nasaksihan ng may akda sa kanyang lipunan. Ngayon naman ay dadako tayo sa paglinang ng mga talasalitaan. Ito'y ilan sa mga salitang binanggit sa tula. Hahanapin natin ang mga kasing kahulugan nito mula sa mga iginulong titik na nasa kahon. Una, mamamatay ako, siya'y nalulumbay. Ano sa palagay ninyo ang ibig sabihin o ang kasing kahulugan ng salitang nalulumbay? Pangalawa, ako'y umalis, tinuntun ang landas. Ang salitang hahanapin ng kasing kahulugan ay salitang tinuntun. Pangatlo, ginapas kunat sa irog dadalhin. Ang salitang hahanapin ng kasing kahulugan ay ang ginapas. Pang-apat, nang sa tarangkahan, ako'y makapagtas. Ang salitang magkapagtas ay hahanapan natin ng kasing kahulugan. Ngayon ay aalamin na natin ang mga tamang salitang magkasing kahulugan ng mga salitang nasa talasalitaan. Ang salitang nalulumbay ay nalulungkot. Nakuha niyo ba ang tamang sagot? Pangalawa, ang salitang tinunton ay tumungo. Tama ba ang inyong mga sagot? Pangatlo, ginapas. Ang ibig sabihin nito ay inaani. Ayan. At ang panghuli, ang salitang makabagtas na nangangahulugang makadaan. Tumpak ba ang inyong kasagutan? Magaling! Ngayon, aking mga mag-aaral, tunghayan na natin ang tulang Ang Pagbabalik ni Jose Corazon de Jesus.
Ang Pagbabalik ni Jose Corazon de Jesus. Babahagya ko ng sa nooy nahagkan, sa mata ko'y luha ang nangag-unahan. Isang panyong puti ang ikinakaway, nang siya'y iwan ko sa tabi ng hagdan. Sa gayong kalungkot na paghihiwalay, mamatay ako, siya'y nalulumbay. Nang sa tarangkahan, ako'y makabagtas. Pasigaw ang sabing, magbalik ka agad. Ang sagot ko'y, oo, hindi magluluwat. Nakangiti akong luhay na lalaglag. At ako'y umalis, tinunton ng landas. Nabiyak ang puso't naiwan ng kabiyak. Lubog na ang araw, kalat na ang dilim, at ang buwan na may ibig nang magniningning. Makaorasyon na noong aking datnin, ang pinagsadya kong malayang lupain. Kuwagong nasa kubot, mga ibong itim, ang nagsisalubong sa aking pagdating. Sa pinto ng naroong tahanay kumatok, pinatuloy ako ng magandang loob. Kumain ng konti, natulog sa lungkot, ang puso kong tila ayaw nang tumibok. Ang kawikaan ko, pusong naglalagot. Mamatay kung ako'y talaga nang kulog. Nang kinabukasan, magawak ang dilim. Araw ay namimintanang matay nagniningning. Sinimulan ko na ang dapat kong gawin. Ako'y nag-araro, naglinang, nagtanim. Nang magdedesyembre, tanim sa kaingin, ay ginapas ko na't sa irog dadalhin. At ako'y umuwi, taglay ko ang lahat, mga bungang kahoy, isang sakong bigas, bulaklak na damo sa gilid ng landas, ay pinutol ko na't panghandog sa liyag. Nang ako'y umalis, siya'y umiiyak. Oh, marahil ngayon, siya'y magagalak. At ako'y lumakad, halos lakad takbo. Sa may dakong ami, meron pang musiko. Ang aming tahanay masayang totoo, at nagkakagulo ang maraming tao. Salamat sa Diyos, ang nabigkas ko. Nalalaman nila na darating ako. At ako'y tumuloy, pinto ng mabuksan. Matay na papikit sa aking namasdan. 4 na kandila ang nangagbabantay sa paligid-ligid ng irog kong bangkay. Mukha nakangiti at ng aking hagkan, para pang sinasabi, irog ko, paalam. At ngayon ay kilalanin natin ang may akda ng tulang Ang Pagbabalik. Walang iba kundi si Jose Corazon de Jesus. Siya ay isinilang noong Nobyembre 22, 1874 at namatay noong Mayo 26, 1932. Kilala si Jose Corazon de Jesus bilang Joseng Batote. Isang makatang Pilipino na sumulat ng mga tula sa Tagalog upang ipahayag ang pagnanasa ng mga Pilipino na maging malaya noong panahon ng pananakop ng Estados Unidos sa Pilipinas, taong 1878 hanggang 1946. At ngayon ay puntahan natin ang pag-unawa sa tulang binasa. Ang panuto. Sagutin ang sumusunod na mga katanungan hinggil sa binasang tula. Unang katanungan, ano ang pinapaksa ng tula? Pangalawa, bakit tumalis ang lalaki gayong nasasaktan ng kanyang irog? Pangatlo, paano isinasalaysay ng may akda ang kanyang pagbabalik? Pang-apat, kung susuriin ang taludtod sa tula na may salong guhit, anong damdamin ang naramdaman ng lalaki habang papalapit siya sa kanilang bahay? Panglima, nakaranas ka na bang mawalan ng mahal sa buhay? Paano mo ilarawan ang iyong nararamdaman? Pang-anim, bakit kailangan nating maglaan ng oras at panahon para sa ating mga mahal sa buhay sa kabila ng maraming gawain at responsibilidad na nakaatang sa atin? At panghuli, sa kasalukuyang panahon, kanino mo maiugnay ang mga pangyayari at damdaming namamayani sa tula? At bakit? Isulat ang sagot sa inyong sagutang papel. Ngayon naman ang kasunod na gawain, ang pagyamanin, ang panuto. Isulat sa hugis puso ang kabuang damdaming nangingibabaw sa tulang binasa na pinamagatang ang pagbabalik. Ulitin ko, isulat sa hugis puso ang kabuang damdaming nangingibabaw sa tulang binasa na pinamagatang ang pagbabalik. At ang kasunod na gawain ay isa-isip. Ang panuto. Mula sa piling taludtod sa tula, piliin at ibigay ang angkop na damdamin. Iguhit sapat lang ang ginamit na emoji na nasa loob ng kahon. Ulitin ko, mula sa piling taludtod sa tula, piliin at ibigay ang angkop na damdamin. Iguhit sapat lang ang ginamit na emoji na nasa loob ng kahon. Unang bilang. Sa mata ko'y luha ang nangag-unahan. Ikalawa. Salamat sa Diyos ang nabigkas ko. Nalalaman nila na darating ako. Pangatlo. At ako'y lumakad, halos lakad takbo. At ang panghuli, at ako'y umalis, tinunton ng landas. Nabiyak ang puso't naiwan ng kabiyak. Anong angkop na damdamin ang nangingibabaw sa bawat pahayag? Isulat ang sagot sa iyong sagutang papel. At ang kasunod na gawain, isusulat ko, tula ko, ang panuto. Pumili ng isang paksa mula sa loob ng kahon. Bumuo ng tula na may 2 saknong at may 4 na taludtod sa paksang napili na maaring iugnay sa sarili mong damdamin. Ulitin ko, pumili ng isang paksa mula sa loob ng kahon. Bumuo ng tula na may 2 saknong at may 4 na taludtod sa paksang napili na maaring iugnay sa sarili mong damdamin. At narito ang mga paksa. Pag-ibig sa pamilya, pagkabigo, kaibigan, edukasyon ngayon, kalusugan, at kalagayan o estado ng bansa. At narito ang rubrik sa pagsulat ng tula. Sukat at tugma, diwa, at talinghaga. Yan ang mga pamantayan sa pagsulat ng tula. At ang karagdagang gawain, ang puno ng damdamin, ang panuto. Naranasan mo na bang masaktan o iwanan ng kaibigan o kasintahan? Ano-ano ang iyong nararamdaman sa panahong iniwan ka nila? Sa iyong kwaderno ay gumuhit ng isang puno at sa mga dahon nito ay isulat mo ang iyong mga nararamdaman. At dito nagwawakas ang ating aralin tungkol sa isang tula na pinamagatang Ang Pagbabalik.
Hi, my name is Cherry Sabesha. I'm one of the Technology and Livelihood Education teachers of Misamis Oriental General Comprehensive High School. I'm teaching grade 9 and grade 10 food processing students. Today, I'm going to demonstrate one of the core competencies in food processing. I'm also going to demonstrate the correct way of labeling and packaging of the finished product. For the information of everybody, sugar concentrated product includes fruit preserves, jellies, and jam. For this video, I'm going to demonstrate mango jam. To start up with, you need to set up your station to prepare the jam. Now you are going to wear your complete personal protective equipment. That includes your hairnet, chef's jacket, and apron. On your table, you need to prepare the basic tools and equipment. So I have here a pan, a stove, a blower for sealing, a wooden ladle, a knife, measuring cups, bowls, a chopping board, 2 jars, and a blender. So here are the main ingredients in making mango jam. We have here ripe mango, granulated white sugar, and lemon juice. So let's start making the mango jam. First, we are going to blend the ripe mango. Blend it into puree. Do not add water. Next, measure 2 cups of puree. Turn on the stove. Put the mango puree into the pan. Stir it. Cook it on a medium-high flame for 3 minutes. Stir well so the mango are coated with sugar. Add the sugar and stir the mixture until the sugar dissolves and it becomes liquidy. Add the lemon and continue stirring until it turns glossy. Keep stirring until it is set up. Mangoes are low-pectin fruit, which means they don't gel as readily as others when you're making mango jam. Low pectin does not mean no pectin, and they will still create a lovely jam after about 20 minutes of cooking. It's not only about pectin. There's another reason why lemon juice is added to most jam recipes: for safe canning and to prevent the growth of bacteria. Now here are the tips for making mango jam. Choose mangoes that are ripe but not overly ripe, and look for a variety of mango that are not stringy. To test manually the jam, swirl your spatula through your cooking jam. Hold it up over the pot and watch how it falls. If the jam runs right off the spoon and looks thin and runny, it's not done yet. However, if it forms thick droplets that hang heavily off the bowl and don't immediately fall off, it is either nearing completion or it's done. Before you're going to transfer the jam into the jar, you need to use this funnel. Since we are done making the product, This time, we will do the labeling and packaging of the mango jam. Now, here are the things needed. First, the finished product. Next, the label. Make it sure that the label has the name of the product, the ingredients, manufacture date, expiration date, and the net weight. Then, you need to have the seal. And we also need the heat gun sealer. But since we don't have the heat gun sealer, we will just use the blower as an alternative. Now, let's start. Now this time, place the seal onto the jar. Place it properly. Seal it using the blower or heat gun sealer if it's available. Then, do this. Next, stick the label properly to the jar. It's done! Here is our finished product, the mango jam.